James Lutton joined with Jason Moloney. Jason, how are you, mate?
Going well, mate. Good to speak to you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, as indeed, it has indeed. Obviously, since we last spoke, you've recently had a fight, another victory. Josh Greer Jr., a fight that's been in the making for a few years now. Just talk to me a little bit about getting that fight over the line and getting the victory.
Yeah, that's right. It been in, was supposed to happen this fight back in April last year and was called off because of COVID. And then yeah, we went our different ways and took different fights and things like that. But yeah, it's always been a fight that's sort of been in the works, and a fight that's always excited me. So yeah, when we finally signed the deal and I was heading over to America to take on Greer, I was very excited and yeah, very happy to walk away with the win. Um, Probably not looking back, probably not my best performance, but after 10 months out of the ring, it was just good to get back in action and get a good win. And that'll put me in a nice position in all the world ratings now and put me back into world title contention, which is where I want to be. So, yeah, moving forward onto bigger and better things now, which is exciting.
You mentioned obviously it's meant to happen last April. At the time, I think he was undefeated. He took a loss since then. You then got the Inoue fight. Do you feel now was the right time for you both to meet?
Yeah, well, I think it was a really good time for us to meet. It was a bit of a high stakes fight because, as you said, he was coming off a loss and a draw, and I was obviously coming off the loss to Anui as well. So it was a really a must win fight for both of us, and obviously the winner was going to move right up the world ratings, and it was going to be a big setback for the loser of the fight. So I knew it was a very important fight for myself, and that's why we prepared very hard and prepared for a tough fight. And yeah, it was great to walk away with the win.
You mentioned obviously that your last fight before the Greer fight was Inoue. You did lose that fight, but there's no disgrace in that. One of the pound for pound best at the moment of Inoue. In terms of that loss, what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I felt like I learned a lot from that fight. Obviously, no fighter wants to lose, but yeah, I know he's just an exceptional fighter, and I stood up to the challenge and did my best. But unfortunately, he was too good for me on the night, and it, as you said, it's I guess it's no disgrace to lose to a fighter like that. But the important thing is that you learn from it and improve from that fight. So I felt like I learned a lot from that fight, and I had nearly 10 months in between the Inui fight and the Greer fight. And yeah, it just gave me so much motivation in the gym to keep working hard. And, I'd seen the level of Inui and, what the best looks like. And it gave me that benchmark to work towards and to get better and learn little things from him and that fight and to work on them in the gym. And I felt like I had made massive improvements since that loss to Inui. As I said, I didn't think the Greer fight was my best performance, but um, I still beat the world. Well, he was rated world number 4 at the time. Still beat him quite comfortably, even though I probably didn't perform at my absolute best. So that gives me confidence moving forward that I can beat a fighter like that when I'm not at my best, and it gives me room to move, get back in the gym, keep getting better, and keep improving. And um, I've got to keep getting better, and I'm sure that another world title fight's not far away. And I'm confident that this time around that I can beat anyone in the division. So I just got to earn my shot.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of, I want to talk about the pressures of a fighter heading into fights, but also of an undefeated fighter. So Inoue was your second loss. You lost to Emmanuel Rodriguez as well in the World Boxing Super Series. Did that take any pressure off of you heading into fights because you wasn't protecting the O as such?
No, not really. I've never been a fighter that really. Everyone wants to be undefeated, but I've never been someone that's been really, you know, in love with that O. I just want to fight the best and be the best that I can be. And as disappointing as it was to, lose that O to Rodriguez, I just took positives from that experience. And, it was a split decision loss that could have gone my way against an undefeated world champion at the time in Rodriguez. And I felt it just showed me that I belong on that elite level. And it gave me confidence to keep getting better, keep working hard, and I knew that my opportunity would come again, which it did. But unfortunately, I knew he was too good for me on the night. But from both of those losses, I really don't want to dwell on them. I took positives from both of those experiences, and I know that they've made me a better fighter moving forward. And I still feel fresh. I still feel young. I know I'm 30 years old now and got 24 fights under my belt as a professional, but I still feel so young. I still feel like I'm improving every day, and it excites me for what the future holds.
Absolutely. You mentioned as well earlier, it's been 10 months out of the ring before fighting Josh Greer Jr. recently. What was that like? You know, I know you're a very active fighter. What was it like to be out of the ring for so long, and how did it feel to be back in the ring again?
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty frustrating because I am a fighter that trains all year round. So I was in the gym every day for those 10 months, just waiting for a date, waiting for something to aim towards. But yeah, I just tried to use that time wisely and yeah, just keep getting better. There's plenty that I wanted to work on after that Nui fight. So it gave, I had that motivation just to keep training and keep improving to make sure that I did come back better and stronger after that defeat. And we tried really hard to get these fights. My fight with Greer and Andrew's fight with Franco in Australia. But with the COVID situation, it just became very, very difficult, and we eventually just had to say, look, this is just taking too long, and there's too many problems. So we'll go back to America, and we'll fight over there and keep moving forward. So that's why there was such a long layoff, for no other reason other than it just took too long to get these fights on. But yeah, it was great to be back in the ring. Um, I don't know if it was ring rust. I don't think it was, ring rust to blame really. I think maybe I just in the fight, maybe I felt that I was outboxing Greer pretty comfortably, and rather than doing anything or taking any unnecessary risks, I just kept doing what was working, and I felt like I was beating him pretty comfortably, just moving and boxing, just stuck to that. But after watching it back, it was a little bit frustrating because I know that I'm capable of doing more than that and doing better than that. And I sort of felt watching it back, geez, if I had to just put my foot on the pedal a bit harder, I could have stopped him and won that fight in a bit more impressive fashion. But as I said, it was just good to get back in the ring. It was good actually to get 10 rounds under my belt because I had been inactive. And yeah, now on to bigger and better things.
You mentioned you watched it back and you felt a bit frustrated. You could have put your pedal on the gas, sort of, your foot on the pedal, sort of thing, and moved on with that. Do you feel now going into future fights, if you feel like you're in cruise control, do you feel there may be a time when you go, actually, let me step it up a level, let me try and get him out?
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. You learn from every fight, and even though I've been doing this now for over 18 years, you're learning every day and every fight. And yeah, I think that was a bit of a lesson that I can take moving forward. That never leave it in the judge's hands, even though it went my way. But don't just stay in cruise control. I guess go through the gears and really show everyone what you are made of and how good you really are. And yeah, put it all on the line with each fight because yeah, anything can happen in boxing, and there's been strange calls by judges in the past, so you don't want to leave the fight too close. And yeah, I think just watching it back, I'm probably a harsh critic, but I just thought, geez, I could have done a lot more there and could have really taken him out. But as again, it was just good to get the win.
Absolutely. One thing I want to mention to yourself, I saw on social media after the fight, after Andrew's fight, obviously he lost to Franco in their trilogy bout. Somebody put on social media, they feel like, is there an added pressure when your twin brother, somebody who you've got such a connection with, is fighting on the same bill? Could you be not having tunnel vision on your fight? Are you worried about his fight as well? Do you feel that at all when you're both fighting on the same cards?
Yeah, look, it's something we have done a lot. We are, especially early in our career. I think our first, maybe 15 of our first 17 or 18 fights were on the same show, fought on the same night. And, it was never an issue. But I do think that it is a bit of a distraction, and it's probably something that moving forward, if we continue to fight on the same shows, we probably need to really put the blinkers on a bit more. for myself, I mean, maybe it was easier fighting first because I can just focus on my fight. But I think for Andrew, not making an excuse, of course, but when you're in the change room by yourself, there's a whole other fight going on. Everyone's attention was on me, and then I get the win, and then quickly the focus had to reshuffle very quickly to Andrew and his fight with Franco, and it's just a bit of a disrupted preparation. And I'm not using it as an excuse, but it is a bit of an added pressure and a bit of a distraction, and hard to really focus and have that tunnel vision, like you said, on your own fight. So, yeah, I mean, moving forward, I would prefer to fight on different nights, but it does have its advantages as well. We were able to get over to America a good month before the fights. We train together every day. We're on the same schedule. We're helping each other in training, and have this real training camp together where we're pushing each other along and we're there together, feeding off each other's energy and advice and everything. So it has its positives, but yeah, unfortunately, it does have its negatives too, I think.
Absolutely. Back on to the positives. You did pick up the WBC silver title in your win. You mentioned earlier moving up the world rankings. What's next? What is the plan? Are you looking at WBC route now? Are you looking? What is your thoughts at this stage?
Yeah, I would love to go that route. Yeah, obviously picked up the WBC silver title, which was great, and Nonito Donaire being the WBC champ at the moment, that would be a dream come true to fight Nonito. An absolute legend of the sport, and future Hall of Famer, and a very, very good fighter that I've always enjoyed watching. But I would love the opportunity to fight him. It's a fight that I really think I can win. So yeah, it's definitely a fight that we're targeting, and hope we can make happen. But we're sort of seeing how the division plays out at the moment. I know Anui's going to fight either Donaire or Casemiro. So one of them, I guess Donaire or Casemiro is out of the picture. But yeah, I'd love Donaire or Casemiro. It's my dream to become world champion, and that's the goal at the moment. And the focus is on either of those guys. For myself at the moment, I've sort of taken Anui out of the picture. I fought him and unfortunately didn't get the win, and I don't see a rematch with him happening anytime soon because he's obviously wanting to become undisputed, and then he'll probably move on to the next 122 division. So he's not really a guy that I'm got my sights set on at the moment. One day I would love that fight again if it was there and presented itself. I would love the chance to do that again, but for me, I've really got my focus on either Donaire or Casemiro. If we can make it either of those fights next, I would love that. But for me at the moment, the main focus, I guess, is just staying busy. As I said, I don't want to stay another 9 months, 10 months until my next fight. I want to get out again before the end of the year. And if that's against anyone in the top 5, top 10, anyone that's going to just give me a good hard fight and keep me active and keep me moving forward towards that goal of becoming world champion, then that's the important thing. Just stay in the ring, keep fighting, and keep moving forward.
That's what I was going to say. We've mentioned Donaire, Casemiro tied up, and then potentially a new unification that could potentially leave you waiting a long time for that title shot. For yourself, would you rather? Because obviously you're fighting in Vegas recently because you're time at top rank, but to stay active, would you prefer to fight in Australia rather than keep having to go over for a month of camp and things like that, and then quarantines and stuff like that? Would that be preferred for yourself?
Yeah, look, I'm happy to do either. Yeah, obviously it is a big sacrifice being away from home for this one's another 7 weeks. And yeah, going home and quarantining and things like that is obviously not ideal. But yeah, I just need to stay active. So I'm more than happy to go back over to America and fight again this year if that opportunity presents itself. But yeah, I would really love to fight in Australia if that's possible, and that's something that our team's looking into at the moment to see if we can, get a fight on in Australia before the end of the year. But hopefully it can happen. It's just very difficult at the moment with the whole COVID situation and being in and out of lockdowns. And 1 week you can have a big crowd, and the next week there's no crowd. It's very hard to sort of work around at the moment. But yeah, fingers crossed we can make it happen, because it's been nearly 2 years since I fought back home in Australia, and there's a lot of people that would love to see us fight over here. So fingers crossed we can make that happen. But as I said, anywhere and anywhere, I just want to keep fighting.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, all the best for the future. Hopefully the WBC world title shot will come very soon. But thank you for your time speaking to me as always.
Great for your time, mate. Thanks very much. Always appreciate your support.